I have prepared a list, a small, short list, um, explaining pinpoint issues where most of the Muslim fanatics, well, let's give it up, not fanatics, most of the serious ideologists of Islam, they believe that these are haram or forbidden in Islam. I've made a list of them. So you will find prominent Islamic scholars either remaining silent about it or they will agree a bulk of it, but they will not agree a few of it. But most of these lists, the points that I'm going to make in the video, most of the scholars would have to either agree or they will duck, dive, avoid, will try to find excuses to divert the issue or add a caveat, and there will be no unequivocal saying in agreement in like, yes, it's wrong, the list is wrong. They will not say that because they can't deny the list. Okay, let's start the forbidden list by the Islamists. One, the West is haram. Thus, we have an organization named Boko Haram. That means West is haram or forbidden. Anything Western is forbidden, and Muhammad himself said that those who live amongst the mushrikeen or kafir, I have no responsibility towards them. So if they are killed during attacks by the Muslims, well, war casualties. And often they are legitimate targets themselves because they are often considered as betrayers of the Ummah. So there are organizations like that who believe directly and preach directly against the West, but also there are organizations, Islamic scholars, who not say that the West is haram as a whole, but at the same time, when you ask them the questions like, is democracy haram or halal? Halal means permissible, haram means forbidden. And they will say, well, democracy, not really. And they will try to say the Western system of democracy is not acceptable. And this is a prevalent view amongst most of the Muslim scholars, especially living in the Muslim world. There are apologetics and apologists in amongst Islamic scholars like Tariq Ramadan. They will try to find a way to compromise. But in reality, people like them are in fact banned in countries like Saudi Arabia. Okay, so the West is haram, philosophy is haram because they will preach that the philosophers, they often are rational thinkers, so they question anything and everything, any ideology. So Islam forbids questioning, even in Quran and Hadith. So philosophy is haram. The philosophers are condemned. And even some of the famous Muslim philosophers in history, especially during the Muslim rule of Spain, and you will come across names like Ibn Tufayl, Ibn Rushd, who is known as Averroes. They were considered as their teachings were, their preachings were considered heretic by many of the Islamic jurists. And Imam Ghazali had a lot to do with the stopping of philosophical thinking and rational thinking in Islam. So philosophy is haram, and there's a famous Bangladeshi Muslim scholar named Saeed. He was of the same opinion, and there are lectures by him on the issue that philosophy is haram. Philosophers are not Islamic. To them, philosophy, ideas like secularism, these are all atheistic ideas. So they do not consider them to be acceptable in Islam. Then most of the scientific tools are haram, except, well, weapons. They will say that Facebook is haram. There are many scholars who would say Facebook is haram. There is a famous Islamic scholar in Pakistan, Dr. Qadri. He said that Facebook is haram, amazingly. Then modern lifestyle is haram to many of them, and they will say that modern lifestyle means that the way you dress up is haram. Your dress up should express Islamic garb, and you should not wear things like gold. You shouldn't, if you're a man, if you do not wear clothes under the anklet and all that. And they will say wearing jeans by women is haram, but by men it's okay, it's all right. And if women wear jeans, so she's going against Islam. Then any type of music is haram. They'll say generally, any type of music is haram. You'll be surprised to know there's a famous Islamic Dai scholar. Dai means preacher. Numan Ali Khan. He was born in Germany, an American citizen. He has a famous lecture. Here, you can Google it if you want. Even on YouTube, you'll find the lecture, and I will give you some links here. That he said categorically that music is the work of the devil. So music is haram. Simple. He didn't put any caveat or any. Some of the Muslim scholars say this type of music is haram. Light music is okay. Playing the drums of daft, Arabian daft, is okay because Muhammad permitted. And there are apologetics. But most of the scholars, because there are over 40 hadiths against music. So they will say categorically like music is haram. And most of the Muslim scholars would agree to that music is forbidden in Islam. Any kind of creativity is in a way haram. So that you do not develop an aesthetic mind. You do not develop a creative mind. You do not develop an analytical mind. Because if you develop these things, then you will start questioning your faith and you will have to leave it. Because these are all indoctrinated beliefs, aren't they? So music is haram. Same way, poetry is haram, believe it or not. And there are Quranic verses to support that. So poetry is haram. Even hadiths are there that it is considered poetry is like having pus in the body is better than poetry. So this kind of derogatory instructions are there in hadiths and Quran. Education in the non-Muslim countries is often considered haram. Giving money as charity to non-Muslims is haram by many people, many scholars, and please do your own research. But taking charity is okay. Friendship with non-Muslims is haram, but marrying certain non-Muslims is okay. They will say that marrying kitabis, that means people of the book, Christian Jews, is okay. Because they are close to the faith and there will be a chance that they will come to Islam because the closeness of the Abrahamic faiths. But friendship with the non-Muslims, clearly in Quran, is haram. There will be apologetics. They will say, oh, no, it's not that friendship, it's wali, guardian. Or some will say temporary friendship is okay for the purpose of, doing business and all. But friendship in general, friend, no, you cannot take non-Muslim as friends. Then showing faces by women is haram, but using women as concubines is okay. There is only one hadith, which can justify the covering of the face. That is in Abu Dawud. There's nothing as such in Quran. There's nothing as such in the most reliable hadith like Bukhari. Then Muslim, no. Tirmidhi, no. Then it's Abu Dawud. It's number 4 in the list. No, number 5 in the list. So, according to Abu Dawud's hadith, Muhammad indicated to the face and to the hands that the believing women should cover those things. And on the basis of this weak, I would say, rather comparatively in the stages of hadith, because it is not in Bukhari, it's not in Muslim, it's not in Tirmidhi, it's in Abu Dawud, number 4. So it is in that sense Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Nasai in 4, and Abu Dawud number 5. So in the authentic serial of 6 most authentic hadith collection, it is in number 5th position. Even on the basis of that, many of the scholars will say doesn't matter if it's in Quran or not, you cannot show your face. And many scholars will say that. And then coming to marrying non-Muslim is haram, but marrying minor girls is okay. So minor girls marriage, most of the Islamic scholars would agree, as long as she reaches the age of puberty. She has puberty. Even Muhammad, when he married Aisha, she didn't have puberty. He married Aisha when she was 6. She didn't reach puberty. But he consummated the marriage when Aisha was 9. So, in the strictest sense, marrying at the age of puberty, you do not have to agree in strict sense. But having sex when she reaches puberty, yeah, you can justify it in that sense. And her mental age doesn't matter. She can be 10-year-old, but the minimum, her mental ability to understand is not very much valued at all. But there are some Quranic instructions where there are instructions to value her mental age, but her judging capacities, to be honest, and fair, because in my research I'm always fair at the best of my abilities. But Muslim scholars will never say, you will never hear even Zakir Naik, he says things that marrying somebody off at the age of 13 to a 115-year-old, if that man is religious, is okay. According to Zakir Naik, the famous Muslim fascist preacher, who is on the run now anyway. So you can marry a minor girl and her mental age is quite irrelevant in practice. Sleeping with women outside marriage is haram, but sleeping with slaves, servants, and war captives are okay. Insulting or arguments against Islam are haram, but preaching Islam with argument is okay. Anti-Islamic writers and beliefs and their followers are haram and should be put to death. Like people like me, Murtad, we are subject to be killed. According to Islam, according to the most authentic hadiths, we are people who should be killed. And Qardai, the famous Islamic scholar, believes that. Zakir Naik believes that we should be put to death in an Islamic society. But the campaigns to equal rights in non-Muslim nations are okay by Muslims. So they will say, oh, we want equal right, we want non-Muslims. So when non-Muslims will come to Islam, they will say, wow, bravo, mashallah, subhanallah, everything is okay. But the same does not apply when you are going to Islamic countries. Expressing love for the beloved or even to wife in any form or shape is haram in public. But stoning women to death and lashing them if they do anything against Islamic to be considered un-Islamic, they'll be lashed. So in some of the Islamic societies, they will be lashed, women will be lashed if they're wearing jeans. It happened in Somalia, it happened in Afghanistan, it happened in many parts of Bangladesh as well. Women are beaten. You can see videos links, beaten. And I was born in Bangladesh, I can vouch for that. They were beaten publicly, women, and that is okay. But showing their face is haram. And these kinds of instructions are given by mullahs and Islamic scholars. Then, showing face on Facebook is haram, but coming to Facebook with fake accounts to see faces of others simply to taunt them is okay. Smoking and whining are haram, but cultivating drugs in Afghanistan is often okay. Killing of innocent is haram, but the non-Muslims are not considered innocent by many of the Islamic politicians. Hence, killing them is okay. Following any law other than Sharia in a country is haram. But queuing up to apply for visas to non-Muslim nations where secularism prevails is okay, because they will want secular rights. They will not want to live in a country where canonic law or Christian laws are prevalent. Allowing non-Muslims as migrants for permanent settlement is haram in a Muslim nation, but going to a non-Muslim nation for settlement purposes is okay. Though Muhammad said, as I said initially, that living among the non-Muslims is not all right. Killing of Muslims during war, even by accident, by the adversary during the war is haram, but killing of innocent civilians of non-Muslims enemies nations deliberately in retaliation is justice. So innocent women, children are legitimate targets according to Muhammad's own instructions as casualties of war. So they are legitimate targets, and there are hadiths to vouch for that. So it is not right. Even later on, Muslim Caliph Omar gave some guidelines about safeguarding even the civilians, but that's later on. But Muhammad instructed attacks where he would know that there are serious chances of children getting killed, and he would say these children are from the Kafirs, so that's all right. And you can see references below. And then disobeying husband's orders is haram, but beating wives is okay. Dialogues at Islamic Shura Council, or the parliament in a way, by the ulama or Islamic scholars to run a country is okay, but allowing common people to voice their opinion is haram. That means the scholars will sit down and make decisions, but common people's opinions will be valueless in an Islamic so-called democratic view. Dialogues amongst Muslims in relation to theological differences are haram in fear of fitna, that means disagreement, but crying foul about disunity among Muslims is okay. Condemning non-Muslims about anything is okay, but condemning terrorists among Muslims is haram because they do not want to create fitna or differences. Traveling the world is okay, but allowing non-Muslims, even charity workers in Muslim lands, is haram. Shaving of beard is haram, but shaving pubic hair regularly by women for returning jihadis is okay according to hadiths. Being brave to wage wars against non-Muslim or even peace-loving Muslims are okay, but talking about filthy views of terrorists is haram in fear of rifts in the Muslim country. Burning Quran is haram, but killing innocent people who are Muslims even inside the mosque is often proven to be halal or permissible. And burning books by non-Muslim writers criticizing Islam is permissible. Worshipping anyone other than Allah is haram, but following their religious political leaders unquestionably is not considered to be worship. Laws of non-Muslim nations are haram, but seeking justice from non-Muslim nations is okay when Muslims are there. And killing judges of their own country is okay, as we have seen that lawyers were attacked in Bangladesh and judges were also attacked and killed in Bangladesh by the Islamists recently. Allowing women to work is haram, but accepting female leadership in an alliance is considered to be okay, as for the purpose of reaching the power, as Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh had a coalition with the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which is headed by a Muslim woman. So they would justify it, although they would preach it, that it is not permissible in Islam. This kind of treachery is always used. Democracy is haram, but seizing power at the first opportunity is okay, because lying in wait is permissible in Islam until you get the power to snatch the power. Invading non-Muslims are devils, but Muslims who can take over non-Muslim lands are heroes. Criticism of leaders is haram, but criticism of prophets is okay. And we have seen in writings amongst those by Maulana Maududi, you will find in his writings, his scholarly writings, the Tafsir al-Quran, you will find examples of that. Stealing others' property, others people's wealth is haram. But raping wives of the captives, even if they're, like women are married, even then, raping them is okay, and I have made several videos with references, please note. Scolding or hurling abuses towards Islamist terrorists are haram, but calling moderate Muslims as kafirs and branding the non-Muslims as devils are okay. Yasir Qadi, the famous American Islamic scholar of Pakistani origin, he gave a lecture on this. Please follow the link below, where he rather justified this and justified non-Muslims as filthy in the Islamic theology. So this is a very common idea. Female voice is haram because Muhammad has instructions Surah 33 that is when his wife should be speaking, they should speak in a voice so that it doesn't give out any wrong messages. But ignoring their cries when they are lashed or even wearing nail varnishes and they are lashed in public and they cry out, to hear that is halal. Clergy in Islam is haram, but allowing only people with degrees from madrasas or Islamic schools to talk about Islam is allowed. Education so you will hear whenever you want to criticize Islam, they will say, oh, do you know Arabic? Do you know Islam? Do you have Islamic degrees? Do you have academic degrees, qualifications to talk about Islam? They will demand that. Education for women is often considered haram, except as that might help to run household works to serve husband. And this is what was agreed by Bangladesh Islamic scholars, and you can find examples of that in Hathazari Madrasa and their scholars in Bangladesh as well, which is considered a very renowned Islamic institution. Apostasy from the form of Islam is haram. Apostasy from Islam is haram and punishable by branding the person mad. So whenever somebody will leave Islam, they will call him mad, or by outcasting him from social life, or by putting him to death as a murtad. So Muslims are usually outcast. Like people like me, my friends will desert me, not keep in touch with me, but at the same time they will be making friends with Christians whenever they want to have their financial purposes served. So Muslims who leave Islam either considered mad, crazy, and they will be, because they have the fascist view that Islam is so good, so right, anybody doesn't believe in it has to be mad. So we are ostracized and we are cut off from the Muslim community. And then the same applies to Islamic political parties. If you leave an Islamic political party, often, like Jamaat Islam, will hound you as mad people if you leave that Islamic political party. So most of the times you will see people leaving Islamic parties like Jamaat Islami, they will not be brave enough, even if they become dormant, they will not be brave enough to enter into any other political party, like secular political party. If they do, they have fear of serious retaliation. Then drawing human figures for any purpose is haram, and even playing with dolls and animal toys is are haram. But reading medical science often and drawing humans for that purpose is okay, and seeing television is okay. And I'm talking about a country like Pakistan, where you have the highest traffic of watching pedophilia and homosexual contents, and that is halal. Those are all halal. So these are all mental gymnastics. So they will also say that selling wine is haram, but at the same time they will also say that drinking wine is haram, but they will, to accept welfare benefits from European countries or Western countries, they'll consider haram, then halal, permissible. So getting benefits from taxpayers who are engaged in Islam, in businesses which are not Islamic. For example, they are selling wine, there are wine mark shops, and they're paying taxes, and then there are betting shops, they're paying taxes, there are musical industries, they're paying taxes, there are film industry, they're paying taxes, and all this tax money going to where? For example, NHS. So taking healthcare facilities from taxpayers' money, from haram sources, is okay, that's all right. And taking welfare benefits, like Anjam Chaudhry, he's taking welfare benefits, that's all halal, that's all halal. But drinking wine is haram, selling wine is haram. So you see the mental gymnastics, the hypocrisy there. Thank you for listening to my list.